constipation. Let's just talk about constipation. I am constipated still a lot of the time. Hi, my name is Maddie, and I'm still in Costa Rica. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I've been documenting my eating disorder recovery journey for a very long time, actually almost a year now. And today I'm going to continue with that by talking about eating disorder behaviors that nobody really talks about. First of all, I want to say I apologize for the waves. I'm on the beach right now, the yoga center where I teach. There's not many spaces. You'd think that there'd be a lot of quiet spaces in the yoga center to talk, but there aren't really. So I really hope you can hear me. I am on the beach. It's beautiful. I would turn the camera around, but I have like 3 rocks and 2 pieces of driftwood precariously balancing my phone right now. So anyway, yeah, if you're new here, welcome. I've been documenting my journey to help other people in eating disorder recovery, to help myself document my own progress, and hopefully help other people who are going through a similar situation. I'm also a little bit iffy right now because I just don't want anybody to walk in. I'm outside, but there are fishermen on the beach. And anyway, quick update about Costa Rica. It's been a challenge to say the least. I'm hoping to do a better update on the food that I'm eating because I don't have control over it. As I said in a previous video, there are also animals everywhere. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm a bit scatterbrained right now, but I wanted to obviously upload a video this week, so apologies again if there aren't many fun edits. It's been very, very busy. I'm teaching, I'm working, I'm writing, I'm doing photography. Yeah, I do have a little notebook here with all of my points so that I can make sure that I stay on track and not get distracted with this video, although I'll be very distracted. So yeah, eating disorder behaviors that not necessarily nobody talks about, but that people don't really talk about very often. So this is going to be kind of a vulnerable video for me because I will be telling some stories that could also be triggering. So trigger warning, if you are someone that suffers from an eating disorder, obviously, maybe not, I don't know, maybe you're just here to know more about eating disorders, but I will be talking about some behaviors that I did and stories that could be potentially triggering. So if you are in a vulnerable place in your recovery, just keep that in mind and be aware of that. So point number 1, this is maybe more of a common one, but spending hours in grocery stores and going up and down the aisles looking at nutrition labels, looking at the different food, looking at all of the different things that you could have, and just spending so much time in a grocery store and having it become an activity. I used to go to Whole Foods as an activity during the day, not even to buy anything, but just to go up and down the aisles. That's not normal. You should be spending your activities doing art, doing like reading, spending time with friends, not going to the grocery store to look at food. And I became obsessed with it. And I never even bought things most of the time because I stuck to the same things that I was eating over and over and over again. So yeah, the behavior of spending a lot of time in grocery stores, even traveling, spending a lot of time looking in different stores, especially nutrition stores and Whole Food stores, anything that would, the fishermen are waving at me, anything that would, I just got distracted now. Just basically spending time doing actions of looking at food. That's not a normal thing. So that's one thing that I really suffered from. And the way to get around it is to nourish your body properly so that your mind is not completely preoccupied with food. Anyway, number 2, kind of along the same lines, obsessively watching food videos. So what I eat in a day, 10,000 calorie challenges, cooking shows, cooking videos. Also looking in recipe books. I used to go to all of the ingredients, write down the ingredients, and then divide it by the portion size, and would just, as an activity, spend my time reading cookbooks and figuring out the calories, and 99% of the time I'd never even make the recipes, but I would go to the bookstore and buy all these cookbooks and just read all these recipes that I never even would make. So again, a way to overcome this is to properly, I'm really sorry about the waves, is to properly nourish your body so that your mind is not super focused on food. You find in an eating disorder that you're restricting your body so much, so all you think about is food, when you're gonna eat, what you're gonna eat, how much you're gonna eat, how you're gonna burn it off. So just being so preoccupied with food and watching videos of other people eating, not really a normal thing. So that's the second point. Number 3, kind of a tricky one, and one that I still deal with, but being jealous of naturally thin people. I don't want to be controversial, but I would see, you also don't know anybody's story. Somebody could be really, really thin and they could be sick. You don't know who has an eating disorder, and at the same time, eating disorders are not a size. You can be overweight with an eating disorder, you can be underweight with an eating disorder. I'm not trying to put this in a size, but I kind of mean, when you have those friends in middle school or high school or even as in an adulthood who just seem to eat so much food and just stays thin or have a fast metabolism. Especially as a yoga teacher, I like to approach people in a non-judgmental way, being all-inclusive and not judging people for the way that they look. But I would find that anyone that's naturally thin, I just became really jealous of them, and that's not right. You shouldn't be jealous of people because of the way they look. Everybody is different, everybody is unique. Just kind of like your shoe size. If you're a size 6 shoe, if you're a size 8 shoe, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Body size does not matter unless you are an unhealthy way. Of course, overweight, underweight. But if in the general scheme of life, your body is an instrument, not an ornament. I think I've said that before, but bodies don't matter. Try not to judge people for the way that they look. Number 4, constant stomach issues, constipation. Let's just talk about constipation. I am constipated still a lot of the time. When you have an eating disorder, you're restricting, you're binging, you're purging, a mix of those behaviors, maybe one, but you are really messing up your digestion. You're either overstuffing your body and then emptying it really quickly, or restricting so that your body is using those resources. So constipation and bloating. Bloating is another big one in recovery, because you are, in my case, I was severely restricting with anorexia. So when I started to reintroduce foods and eating a proper amount, my body would bloat to an extreme. Extreme bloating was something I dealt with. I always had a heat pad on my stomach. But the other thing too is, for me specifically, I was at such a low weight that, my stomach was concave. So when you eat food, you're putting volume in your stomach, so it's going to expand. And I felt so uncomfortable all the time. But when you become a healthier size, your body will obviously expand a little bit when you're food in it, but it won't be to the extent of when you're so thin. Putting food in your stomach makes you feel a lot bigger. Again, it could be triggering, I'm sorry, but yeah, so stomach issues, a big one. The way to solve this, continuing to eat mechanically, eating a proper amount to nourish your body, eating at regular times of the day. Heat pads are helpful, ginger tea, peppermint tea, staying hydrated. Especially when you're bloated, the last thing that you want is to drink water and fill up your stomach. And not using water as a way to make yourself full, but to help get the digestion going. I would recommend not eating during meals because it makes you feel really uncomfortable sometimes. So stomach issues, it's very normal. You're not alone in that one. Constipation, it happens. It's uncomfortable, it sucks, but you just gotta keep going. The worst thing you can do with constipation is to continue to restrict, because it's just gonna delay the process of restoring your digestion. A scarlet macaw just flew over my head. Costa Rica, I'm telling you. 5, could be triggering, so trigger warning. Weird food combinations, especially during a binge. There was one time where I would be binging and I would literally eat frozen food. I remember eating frozen pierogies and not even taking the time to heat them up. I would just eat frozen food. Not normal. I remember another time eating Cheetos, which are like cheese cracker chip things, like puffy, and dipping them in Greek yogurt, like strawberry Greek yogurt and Cheetos, to help, make them softer, so that I was binging and purging, so to make them easier. I'm sorry, that's just my story. I'm also sweating a lot, taking a breath. Everybody just take a deep breath. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Let it all go. Let it all go. Just deep breathing. Gotta practice that a lot. So weird food combinations. Milkshakes and fries, that's normal, but it's when you are eating things like frozen pizzas. It's not really a combination, but weird food habits when you're in the binge purge cycle, yeah, that's weird. Number 6, the need for everything to be perfect. I would not let anybody make my food. I would not go out to eat. I had to cook all of my meals. I had to eat at a specific time of the day. I had to have the exact portions measured out to the gram, measuring spinach on a food scale, and eating at like a sacred time so that everything was perfect. And just, making meal times this amazing time of the day because you're starving your body. So when you finally do get to eat, it has to be perfect. And the truth is, food does not have to be perfect. Obviously go out for a great meal and enjoy food. And if your food can be great, obviously amazing. But if your meal is just a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and an apple and some chips, that actually sounds pretty good. But it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be perfect. Food is enjoyable. It is meant to fuel your body. Yeah, the problem with food being perfect. I'm very glad I have this because I would not be on track. Number 7 kind of goes off of that. Eating at weird times of the day. I got into a habit where I was waking up at like 7 in the morning, doing my workout, doing all my work, and then not eating breakfast until 1:30. I'd have coffee, but I would push off my meals so late, and then having lunch at 4:30 and dinner at 8, and also saving up the calories. So my breakfast was really small, my lunch was really small, and then I'd have this huge dinner, which would make me feel so uncomfortable, but I was saving up my calories for the end of the day. To get over this, mechanical eating, making sure that you're eating proper amounts 3 times a day, your 3 snacks, so that you're not super hungry and your body can also adjust to normal amounts of food. So eating at weird times of the day, that's just be normal. It also really messes it up if you want to go out for lunch with friends. I mean, I wasn't doing that, but when I was later in recovery, I was still eating at later times, but going out for dinner. But, I would say to friends, I can only eat at like 1:30 for brunch. And for them, that's like lunchtime. That's later than lunchtime, but I wasn't eating till a late time. And last point, number 8, obsessively looking at nutrition labels to the point of taking things out of the garbage and checking things multiple times, even though you know the number, you've checked it, which isn't great either. I'm trying right now, especially to move away from nutrition labels. I mean, in Costa Rica, I have no freaking clue what I'm eating in terms of calories, but I'm just enjoying it. But, there would be times when I would go back in the snow outside to look in the garbage to pick out a wrapper that I know the calories of, but I'd have to check again. Another time, I remember thinking that I was drinking a diet soda, chugging it because I was so hungry and so thirsty. Not a good idea. The amount of diet sodas I drank, chugging it, and then checking the calories and realizing that I'd chugged a normal soda and freaking out. I went into a full-on panic attack, and I mean hyperventilating, heart racing, bawling my eyes out, and just, that is so not normal. There's a hermit crab. You see this little hermit crab? Is he gonna come out? Just wait for him to come out. So eating at weird times and pulling out nutrition labels. There you go. Hello, Mr. Hermit Crab. Oh, it's so cute. Okay, I'll put him back. So yeah, those are just some things that I wanted to talk about to hopefully help people feel less alone. Some of these I've come across and felt so surprised that other people were dealing with the same things. So I want to bring up this conversation because it is an important thing to talk about to help people feel less alone. So that's all for now. I'm gonna show you my setup because it is quite a scene. So this is where I'm at. That was my tripod. There's the beach. So yeah. Oh, there we go. Now I'm not gonna get this to set up again because it took me forever. So anyway, I'm just gonna hold it. If you enjoyed today's video, let me know in the comments below. More stuff to come about Costa Rica. And give this video a like, a comment. That's all fun for me. So take care. Bye-bye.